You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? Should I have? It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Kessel Run Weekly. My name's Kristen.
And I'm Danny, and welcome to our Resistance review for Season 1, Episode 8, The Platform Classic.
Yeagar! Thank you for coming so quickly.
What do you need this time, Doza? More last-minute repairs?
Well, I know I've been calling on you quite often of late, old friend, but these are desperate times.
What is it? Pirates? Saboteurs?
The Platform Classic.
What about it?
The Classic is a chance to bring much-needed money to our economy. The prize is 100,000 credits. The aces will be in it, of course, but this time I wanted to make it bigger than ever. So I'm calling on you, Yeagar. The best of the best.
Sorry. My racing days are long over.
I knew you'd say that. But I also know you could never resist competing with a legend.
It's been a long time.
I'm sure I don't have to introduce famous sky racer Marcus Speedstar, 3-time winner of the 5 Sabres.
Whoa, Marcus Speedstar? I can't believe it.
Hard to believe it's been almost 10 years, Jarek.
Wait, you know Marcus Speedstar?
I'm so excited about this episode, and I know last week I talked about how excited I was as well, just because it seemed like I was looking for racing stuff and everything.
Right.
I am satisfied.
I am also satisfied. The story's kind of moving along a little bit. Mm-hmm. We're getting a lot more action. We're almost wrapping up the season. We have 2 episodes left.
Yes, only 2.
Before Resistance wraps up its first season.
Yeah.
And then I guess season 2 is TBD?
Yeah, TBD right now. We really don't know if there will be a season 2. My bet is that there will be, to be honest. I think that there will be, but again, like we talked about last week, it's going to be a matter of viewership and how exciting it is and how much everybody loves it. A good win for Star Wars Resistance, though. I saw this actually on Christopher Sean, the voice of Kazuda Xiono. Mm-hmm. I saw this on his Instagram where he had put this in his story, I think.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes certified Resistance as 92% fresh.
Huh.
Yeah,
and
gave it
fresh
a thumbs
is
up
good.
and everything. Fresh is good.
Rotten is bad.
Rotten is very bad.
That's good, though. Yeah, that makes
it to be the tomato side, not the rotten side.
That makes me feel better, honestly, because after looking on IMDb a lot, you notice a lot of the Resistance episodes have pretty low scores. Most of them are within the 5.3 to 5.2, 5.1. I think there's as low as like 4 something.
Yeah.
On there, so
which this one was rated at a 6.6.
Which
so this is the highest one so far.
Which is pretty awesome.
Optimism.
So, I mean, either the bots have given up.
they're laying off a little bit.
Right.
You know what? We're season 8. Done our job.
Our tactics aren't working anymore. We're gonna be demoted.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
But yeah, with this episode, I don't know, like it was really exciting for me. I really enjoyed this, and I just thought about, I know we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I just thought about, I know we've been talking about through this entire review about how we haven't seen the through line, that it really hasn't focused anything about Kaz's mission, if anything, very minute to it.
Yes.
What if we're missing the point? Because after this episode, we got a lot of Jarek Yeagar, which I really, really loved learning about Yeagar.
I did too.
I thought he was really cool and getting to see his brother.
Well, yeah, because Yeagar's been a mystery this entire time.
He's just been kind of the grump.
Well, I mean, that, and he's just been such a mystery to me. You know, we knew he knew Poe, and it's kind of like, oh, wow, Poe's a pilot. How does he know Poe? Okay. Oh, Yeagar flew. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, did Yeagar fly? Oh, he was on the Battle of Jakku. Mm-hmm. Oh, family? Yeagar's got a family? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh, Yeagar has a brother.
They're everywhere.
It's just like every episode was something new about Yeagar, really.
Right.
In a way.
So that's what I'm wondering. For one, I wonder how big of a part Yeager's actually going to be playing in this going forward, because the way that it seemed like it was more he was just the facilitator, the person to give Kaz home base, pretty much. And so I'm wondering if he's a bigger deal than we anticipated. If he's going to play a larger part in this because he is ex-Rebel. And can you really take the Rebel out of the man?
I mean, I feel like you can't sometimes. Yeah. I feel like there's always going to be someone who has, the Rebel cause always in him, I feel like.
I'm interested to see, though, if he's going to be a bigger deal than we really anticipated. Because we're getting a lot of Yeager-centered things, and this late in the season, you got to think it's got to mean something to the story, right?
I mean, you'd think so, but I don't know. I feel like everything's going really off topic if that's the case then, because I feel like we jumped into the show. Like I said, it's always been a battle for me since the beginning, because when they first kind of talked about it and released it, like I said, I wasn't very excited about it because I heard it was anime, didn't like that, realized it wasn't super anime-ish. Do love it. Graphics cool. And then it got turned into like, oh, Meet the Aces. Great. Cool. It's going to be a giant show about like pilots. Not the case.
Yeah.
It's about a guy named Kaz who was put on the Colossus to be a spy. What's he doing? Like, what's he doing?
Right. Well, and I agree with you that he's not really doing a whole lot. Like, there's been a couple of episodes, and not to take away from Kaz, I feel like he's kind of what symbolizes the viewership that they're aiming for, I think.
No, I can agree with that.
As far as where that character is in his life and who he is, how he acts, things like that.
Right, because he's a growing character. He's a very young character who's learning himself, growing into himself, learning new things. And yeah, he's definitely a character for the viewers. Absolutely. Most definitely.
And so, and that's where I'm kind of wondering, because we haven't seen a whole lot of this spying thing and stuff like that. Now, and we'll get to this later, but the next two titles of the next two episodes are interesting. And I feel kind of have a spy kind of quality to them. Ooh. I'll let you know, because you actually don't know these yet.
I don't.
But they kind of have a spy kind of feel to it.
Okay.
So maybe we'll be kicking it into gear for the last couple episodes, which would be cool. Make them real exciting and everything. But getting to this episode, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, will we see Bond? James Bond?
Probably. In space.
Yay! No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't help it. Just think about spies. That's like always some reason who I think. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a James Bond movie. Shame on me. Shame on me.
But I don't know, like seeing your story play out and everything this week, because I love this episode. Like, without a doubt, this is my favorite so far. I love it. I really do. I've got others that I love different things about them, but this one was fun. This one really dove into the lore of a specific character and really just gave a lot of information. Even some callbacks to the Clone Wars with the mention of the planet Rishi. Which,
yes,
for those Clone Wars aficionados out there that may recognize that appeared in the episode of Clone Wars Rookies, where we first get Heavy and Echo and everything on that remote base, and chaos ensues. So yeah, but I like the little drops and stuff like that. But I think that overall this episode has been more of what I've been looking for out of this show. Even though it's centered around one character, I still think that was more of what I wanted. I wanted to get to know these characters. I really wanted to know who they are, where they're going, what to expect from them, kind of things like that. Because just like I said last week, it hurt me that I'm having trouble remembering some of their names.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh man, really? Like, I didn't even know Tam's name till probably the third or fourth episode.
Right.
Which sucks. But I think that I'm starting to kind of get more into it, because learning about Yeager's character in this also kind of gave some insight into the team around him, I feel like, as well. Mm-hmm. And who he surrounds himself with, why he is the way he is, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know. What did you think about it?
I thought it was a really good episode. I always love episodes that kind of dive into the characters. just because I'm always like really hungry to know more about
What makes
each.
you tick?
Yeah, I mean, I always like to know more about the characters, and like I said, throughout the whole season so far, Yeager's been a mystery. We've gotten little like drops and hints and things here and there, but it just kind of was like, but I want more.
Absolutely.
Like, who is Yeager? Wow, he was on Jakku. Wow, he had a family or has a family, but we didn't even know anything about them. Which, I mean, we only can assume that now he's by himself on a giant
something
thing
bad has happened. Yeah.
that's surrounded by water. That it's got to be, he doesn't have family. But then you want to know the backstory behind it, as like, where'd they go? What happened to them? Are they alive? Are they dead? You know what I mean? Just all those questions just kind of flow, and I just want to know, everything I can about that character, and like you said, kind of what makes him tick. Overall, I did think it was a very good episode. I thought it was a very strong episode.
Absolutely.
I don't want to sound negative because I always want to focus on the positive, but I'm still just having such a hard time trying to figure out how this is going to end. Because, like I said, the whole premise of the whole series, I thought, was Kaz trying to be a spy to figure out who the First Order spy is.
Maybe that's still a premise.
Maybe it is. I mean...
And maybe everything will be tied in somehow in the next couple episodes. Like, I don't know.
I know.
Like, it kind of
I'm
feels
just
like
struggling.
a variety show right now.
It does,
like,
but I'm
the
just...
story of the week.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's what they have to do in order to keep it kind of fresh.
Well, and they're also setting the world.
Yeah.
This is not a place that we've ever been before. These are not characters that we've ever met before.
Right.
So, I mean, there is a lot of character development to be had. So, I mean, maybe giving it some forgiveness because it's the beginning of the story.
I didn't say I didn't forgive it.
Oh, no. I didn't mean like you felt any type of way or anything. That's not what I meant. I'm just saying as far as like, because a lot of people were kind of, especially what we're seeing with the ratings, if the ratings are actually, I don't think they're actually true.
If they're not bots.
Yeah, if they're not bots. So, in getting to our Resistance review for the episode, just a quick synopsis. So, essentially, a famous racer comes to the Colossus for the Platform Classic because it's going to be the most spectacular of all time, Captain Doza says.
Yes.
And we find out that said racer is a familiar face to Mr. Yeager.
Yes. We learned that his name is Marcus Speedstar.
Yeah, that's the name he goes by.
That's the name he goes by.
I love how Yeager even makes fun of it. He's like, you thought that was a real name?
That's so funny. Almost like Lady Gaga.
Right.
Just kidding, but...
Well, I almost kind of felt like it was... Like, to me, it kind of sounded like a jab at Skywalker. Speedstar Skywalker. It's like, you thought that was a real name? But, ha.
Well, we do learn that this Marcus Speedstar is the one and only Marcus Yeager.
Yes.
Oh no, what's his name? Yeager what?
Marcus Yeager.
Okay.
He's Jarek Yeager, and that's Marcus Yeager.
Okay, I forget Yeager has a first
Jarek
name.
and Marcus.
I forget Yeager has a first name.
Everybody always just calls him Yeager,
exactly,
yeah.
So like I've just adopted Yeager as his first name, so that's why I was like, wait, I just messed that up.
His name is Yeager.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But yeah, so we learned that Marcus is Yeager's brother.
Yeah, and Doza's whole big master plan is to pit them against each other for a race of the century with a prize of $100,000. Credits, yes.
Sure
dollars doesn't exist in the Star Wars. Credits, yes. But yeah, so the whole big race and everything, and this is where we get Yeager's backstory.
It is.
So I'll let you take it away from here.
So even at first sight, Yeager is very unhappy that he has to see Marcus's face.
Oh, yeah.
Really unhappy. He's kind of like, almost like, wow, what are you doing here? And he learns that he's here for the race, famous racer, even Tam and I almost said Ezra.
You almost did it again?
Even Tam and Kaz.
You miss Rebels so much.
I do. Tam, Kaz, and Niku, like, are all, like, fangirling.
Oh, absolutely.
Over Marcus.
Yeah.
And we learned that it's been a decade since they've seen each other.
And Yeager thinks nothing of him.
Right.
Just thinks very little of him.
Definitely tell there's some bad blood there. Most definitely bad blood.
But yes, some very bad blood there. So essentially, Doza's whole big thing is to pit them against each other to where they'll race, and Marcus goes on this whole thing of how he's never won against Jarek Yeagar.
Yes.
How he's never won against his brother and all this other kind of stuff. And Yeager's just really dogging him the whole time. Just like, look, man, that all you ever want is to win.
Right.
And for whatever reason, Yeager can't get that out of his head.
Right. Yeah, because we learned to, I feel like multiple occasions that Jarek even tells Cass, I think he says it out loud just a couple times maybe, it just talks about how Marcus has never really tried to win, other than to make himself famous. He's always raced for himself.
Oh, very selfish, yeah.
Yeah, very selfish, while Yeager, Jarek, is, racing for something different. And he kind of talk about their past a little bit, about how they both were in the resistance. Well,
Rebels. Yeah. The rebellion at the time, yeah. So they were there for the Battle of Jakku. They fought in the defense, is what they call it.
Right,
yeah.
But when they won the war, essentially, they had to downsize. Because there was no need for, like, a giant army anymore, essentially, because the bad guys were gone.
How bad must it suck to get laid off from the rebellion? Of all things. Guys, we're going to have to cut you. We just don't need all of you anymore. Sorry.
So we learned that they essentially were racing for a living after that.
That's where we really start to get into Yeager's and Marcus's past.
Yes.
Jarek's and Marcus's past.
It's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeager's,
no one calls him Jarek. But yeah, so we kind of dive into their past and everything, and Marcus goes through and tells the story of a big race that he and his brother were in, where he wanted to just win so badly because he could never beat his brother. So in order to win against his brother, Marcus decided to cheat. And he used hyperfuel in order to get an edge on the competition. Well, just as we've seen, no hyperfuel. Not even once. It doesn't work out for anyone. He misdosed it and used too much. And when he did, he wasn't prepared for the kick, clipped his brother's racer, and caused a massive accident.
Yes.
And apparently a lot of racers died, a lot of people died, and he kind of leaves out certain details a little bit until we actually find out a little bit more from Yeager.
Yes, Yeager drops a pretty big bomb on us that he's the reason he doesn't have his family anymore, like his wife and daughter, that wreck killed them.
Yeah, they died that day. Yeah. Which the whole episode takes a dark turn at that point.
It really
because it's just like, oh, this is more than just a sibling squabble. This is like legit. Like, this is bad. Yeah. So, because like the whole time, like when Jarek and Marcus meet together and stuff like that, Marcus is kind of like hey, I haven't seen you in a while, man. Wanted to talk, and Jarek just doesn't want anything to do with him.
Right.
And they never, didn't want anything to do with him. He's a lot more calm and collected than I think I would be. Because it's been years, but still, his brother wiped out his family.
Yeah.
That's massive. You can't just like pop back up somewhere and be like, "What's up, brother?"
Right. Just want to check in on you, dude.
Yeah.
See if you're doing okay.
Yeah, so right. And so Marcus kind of goes through the episode and everything. He tries to talk to Jarek from time to time and everything. And he's at Auntie Z's, and he's approached by none other than the Guavian Death Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they take his lead mechanic, Opblock, who is a Krasek, which is freaking cool, by the way.
Very cool, actually. We see him communicate first with Niku. And then,
that was hilarious.
And it looks really scary at first.
Yeah, it does.
Then Niku's like, "Oh no, he likes us."
Yeah.
Which Niku doesn't sound like that. I'm very sorry. But
is that your best Niku?
Best Niku. I probably could do better, but I don't feel like it. So, but yeah, we learned that he pretty much it communicates through his little, like, side gills, I guess, if what you want to call them.
Yeah, something, yeah. I don't know that I've ever seen that species before. Because when it came up, I was like, ooh, he's cool looking.
I don't know, honestly.
Did you recognize it?
I didn't. But there's so many.
There are so many.
So it's hard to, like, say for sure whether, maybe he just was in the backdrop somewhere.
Maybe.
You never know.
You never know.
Tatooine, Maz' Castle, so many others.
Yeah. His form of communication, though, was absolutely horrifying.
Yes, it was. Definitely reminded me of Jurassic Park.
He had, like, a Dilophosaurus kind of deal going on.
Yeah, just, like, not as big and not as, like, oily, I guess, wherever that is. I don't know, whatever the tar.
Yeah, there you go. Sure.
Okay.
Poison spit,
All right.
But yeah, so Oplock gets kidnapped by the Guavian Death Gang, and he's held hostage because Marcus owes a debt to them, which we find out it's because he fell on hard times and he borrowed credits, as our friend Han Solo did at one point as well. So with that and everything, Marcus tries to kind of plead to Jarek the whole time about, hey, just let me have this one. Just let me do this. It's cool. Like, and Jarek just won't take it. All of a sudden, pride kicks in. And he's like, nah, if I go up there and I challenge him, he'll back down.
Right, because that's the whole competition. The whole thing behind it is Jarek knows that he's the better racer, and so does Marcus. And he knows that if he goes up there and challenges him, Marcus will back down because Marcus knows he won't win. And it's so funny because he actually accepts the challenge, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, I'll race. And then Marcus is like, you don't want to do that. And then he's like, look, yeah, he turns to a coward. Like,
tries to, like, play it off and everything.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, see you out there.
Yeah. And Jarek's like, wait, what?
Yes, which is pretty funny because he's like, whoa, I'm not going to do it. And we get a flashback of episode 1.
I loved it so much.
And Kaz is like, well, once you accept it, you really can't go back.
Throws Jarek's words back on him.
Literally, because you remember in episode 1, we see a guy getting thrown off of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Because he changed his mind and he said he was going to race and he didn't. And as he's about to get thrown off, he says, no, I'll race or something like that. So it's pretty funny, honestly.
So in order for Marcus to get Oplock back, he's got to win and everything. And now, through their pride and brotherly back and forth, things have gotten out of hand.
Yes. They are both racing along with the Aces.
Yep.
I like this part of the episode because we kind of, after the whole, like, once we figure out they're both racing, we get this little divided scene, I guess you could say, of Marcus and Kaz, because he talks about how his mechanic's gone now. And so Yeager very funnily is like, oh, here, you can have my best mechanic. And, like, pushes Kaz at him, like, here you are. And Tam's kind of like, oh? And he's like, I didn't say what he was best at. Which is really funny. Really funny. So essentially,
it's like, oh, Kaz.
Right, which obviously Marcus figures this out because he's like, you're the best mechanic. Because I don't remember exactly what happens, but Kaz is supposed to
we can't figure out what tool he needs.
Yeah, that's all I was about to say.
So Marcus is like, hey, hand me this tool. Yeah.
Yeah, or fix something. And he's like, he's like, well, I'm a pilot too. And we kind of learn a little bit more about Marcus and Yeager there too, that Kaz kind of learns about that. He's mad at him, and Kaz already knows that he has a wife and daughter who has the pictures in his office. Or picture. But he doesn't know any other information, and then it kind of cuts off and it goes to Tam and Yeager, and we see both their ships, which are very, very cool.
Yeager's ship looks awesome.
Yeah.
I like Marcus's too, because I like I was telling you, we didn't get a full view of it really, really well, but it looks like a modded out, like a super modded out Y-Wing. And, like, I think that's freaking cool, to be honest.
Right. It wouldn't surprise me. Because that's probably what they were familiar with. So, it wouldn't surprise me if it was very similar, if not, like you said, modded out Y-Wing.
Yeah, and Yeager's looks really awesome, too.
Right. So, very cool. We get to see that, and Tam's just like, and all of his ship and all. Mm-hmm. And about the time the races are going to start, I feel like this is kind of where we get that glimpse of Kaz's character and how we see his growth, because he comes running in there and essentially he's like, Yeager, you have to forgive Marcus. He's your brother. He loves you. He came here to see you. Like, and Yeager's just like, but you have no idea. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
At this point, we didn't know about his family just yet. And so we're just sitting here like, wow, like, he must have really messed up. Like, he must have really did something. Which, I mean, we learned he did.
Oh my gosh, he did.
But just to, I don't know, like, just to not know someone's situation and to run in and just be like, no, forgive them, they're family, they love you, is just, like, I'm not going to say he's, like, naive necessarily, but that's just where we see the youngness of Kaz's character.
Well, so to that point, I think it's cool that you mentioned that, because I think that we see it as naive because of how we view the world and everything, as far as, like, forgiving someone. It's like, I need to know why. I need to know the situation. I need to have a reason. Where, if you think about it, a kid or Kaz in this instance, they're not a second thought. It's like, yeah, I'm going to forgive you. Just like Kaz, not a second thought. I'm going to save you, even though you just lied to me. All this other kind of stuff. There's no context, no underlying motive to him. It's just, I know what's right, and this is what needs to happen.
Right.
And so Kaz not having all the information was like, yeah, you should forgive him, which he's right. He should. How he will, that's a whole nother thing. Right. But I think it's about starting that process. And I think that was what was really cool in this episode, is that it wasn't just a surface story of, you killed my family, I'll hate you forever, and this is how we are mortal enemies. It kind of eventually gave that road to, and I know it's kind of skipping ahead, but I liked when Marcus and Yeager resolve and they shake hands, and he's like, so Marcus is like, so we're good, and Yeager's like, no, but we will be. Yeah. And I thought that was cool, because it's not about knowing how you'll forgive them, it's the act of starting the forgiveness.
Right, it's the starting the stepping stones of it.
Absolutely.
So, it's more so the fact that they both acknowledge their wrongdoings in a way, or at least Marcus has.
Absolutely. Well, and then Jarek was shutting him out completely.
Yeah.
Gave him no opportunity, which I can understand why. Definitely understand why.
Like, you really can't blame the guy.
Exactly.
But, I mean, he is family, and like one of the things Marcus says close to the beginning of the episode is like, you're all I have left.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
But kind of skipping there in the middle, because we kind of jumped to beginning of the race, and then we kind of jumped to the end of the race. But the race, holy cow!
So freaking cool!
Very cool.
It was everything I ever wanted it to be.
I mean, it really was. I mean, I don't think we can ever talk highly enough about the graphics of this show.
And I will never let you live it down that I told you this animation style, this art style. No. This art style was going to look awesome with the ships and stuff like that.
And I never denied that.
Yes, you did.
No,
Multiple
I didn't.
times.
I never said it was going to look bad. I just told you that I thought and was told that it was going to be.
No, I got that church lady. Well, I don't know about that.
Whatever. Don't even lie. Don't lie to these people. They deserve better than that, Danny. I never said that. Anyway, very cool though.
Yes, very
graphics,
cool.
Amazing. Like I will always talk highly about the graphics in this show, and I feel like if somebody's ever like, 10 years later, what do you remember about Resistance?
Yeah,
the graphics.
Right, exactly. Because it was a cool art style. Like
it is.
I really, really like it a lot. It does really well for action sequences and things like that. There are times I feel like I'm watching it and I'm kind of like, that looks a little weird, but. I mean, overall, though, like, especially in this episode, I bought in. Like, I was all in on this episode. I loved the story that it had to tell. I love learning about Jarek Yeager. It just, everything about this was my favorite. This was what I've wanted it to be.
Right. No, I can totally agree. It was really awesome. And
also spaceships.
It was spaceships, yes. Very awesome and spaceships. One of the coolest parts to me about this whole scene was it was a little bit different of a race than we've seen. We have the rings as usual that they fly through, but one ring was up really, really high, like in
above the atmosphere. Yeah.
So what happened is they all like went through the rings and they all started flying upward, like out of the atmosphere. And when they got through the ring, all their ships turned off.
Which we didn't realize that until they were on the plummet down, which that's what they called it. This was the plummet.
Right. Thank you, Niku.
Yeah. Or the plunge?
The plunge. I think the plunge.
The plunge, yeah.
Either way, it was both still correct, I feel like.
It was intense and it was down. That's what it was.
Exactly. So very cool. So obviously once they hit these rings, their ships turn off and they have to turn their ships around and start coming back into the atmosphere. Well, as you know, science. Things flying into the atmosphere at a certain speed catch fire.
Yes.
So their ships did catch a fire, or at least like
re-entering the atmosphere and everything. Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't necessarily on fire, but it gave you that.
Oh no! That's the thing. Like when a ship re-enters the atmosphere, it catches fire. It's like such intense heat breaking through the atmosphere. So yeah, you're right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Science and everything. So that part was really cool. And as we learn on the way down, which is pretty far, they go pretty far down, like almost like ring. Here's the water, like really close. And
so you gotta hope that your stuff turns on.
Well, that's the thing, though. Is well, just you stay over there. We're getting there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So very, very intense. You know, down, ring, water, poop. You know what I'm saying? Like all super close. So we learned during this down soar that Niku's like covering his eyes, like freaking out, like oh my gosh, this is so intense, and he makes a comment, which I don't think we even realized until we started paying really good attention, like, which we were paying attention, but we were both just so like, about it, that Niku made mention about that ring at the bottom.
Yeah.
And he's like, if they miss that ring, they'll crash.
They'll hit the water, yeah.
Right, and Alpha didn't think anything of it, because I thought maybe he meant that there's a certain time they have to start their ships back up, or they'll, you know, like...
See, that's what I was thinking, is like being able to reignite it from the ship. I didn't realize the ships were off.
Right, like the ring at the top, turn them off.
Yeah.
The ring at the bottom, turns them on.
Yeah, that's intense.
So, right, we realized that, and then we get a little, I don't want to say a fight scene, but we get a little push and shove from
Marcus and Griff Halloran. Yeah.
Is it Griff Halloran?
Griff Halloran.
Griff Halloran.
His first name's Griff.
Okay, we're going to go Griff, because I feel like I'm messing that up. So
the TIE pilot, ex-TIE pilot.
Yes, very cool, by the way. I like him a lot. So Griff actually looks like he initiates it.
Oh, he absolutely does.
Well, yeah,
he's like firing at his ship and everything.
That was earlier, though.
Yeah,
I thought. I didn't think.
Well, I mean, he's been. I mean, like he's antagonizing the whole time. Yeah,
he definitely fires at.
You can tell he fights fair.
Somebody. Knocks him in the water. You said there.
Bokeevil.
Bokeevil, yes. He knocks Bokeevil into the water.
Yeah.
Bokeevil looks like he lived, though. It looks like his ship landed lightly in the water.
Yeah.
Didn't go boom boom.
Apparently, according to the Meet the Aces thing, his whole thing is crashing. That's just what he does. He crashes a lot. I'm waiting to see if he finishes a race, because I think he crashed the first time we saw him too.
Possibly. So we get that.
He's like little Anakin.
Oh, right.
You've never finished a race,
but I've started them.
Right.
But yeah, that push and shove with Griff and Marcus, pretty scary. It looks really scary, because around that time we started realizing that ring is what turns their ships back on.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh my gosh. And I mean, at this point, you've learned enough about Marcus where you kind of feel bad for him, and you almost kind of want him to win just because of the situation he's in. And you realize he's very genuine. He's not there just to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
At this point, he's actually there
changed.
to help a friend.
Yeah.
Yes. So you feel something for Marcus, and you're wanting him to win. Because you realize that he's not the same guy that Yeagar knew, that Jarek knew. And so you kind of get a little scared from him for a moment, because you're like, oh my gosh, who's going to make it to this ring? And who will crash? Because it doesn't look like both of them are going to make it.
Not at all. And Marcus kind of does a maneuver that makes you think they might both make it.
Right. He looks like he kind of sits almost on top of his ship. Like almost
He's like, look, man, there's room for us both.
Right. Like, just quit shoving me. Is really what it looks like at first.
Yeah.
And then I guess maybe the ring's just smaller than we thought. But like you said, it looks like both of them can make it through. And Griff changes direction and actually realizes he's not making it through. So he actually ejects himself from his ship and like flies in the air.
Yep.
And his ship hits the water. No big explosion or anything, but Marcus does make it through.
Right.
So during this last stretch of the race, you get Marcus and Jarek that end up almost racing right next to each other. And they have this really, really touching heart to heart, essentially, where Marcus is like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I should never mess with that fuel. Like, I messed everything up. Like, your family meant everything to me. I loved them. Like, you know, it. At first, when, like, before he really, you know, confirmed that they were dead, I almost thought that, like, maybe they were missing or something, and that, you know, and that he was coming back to tell him that he found them or something is really what I thought was happening at first, but I realized very quickly it was not that.
Unfortunately.
Somebody was definitely gone. And, but they do have that really good heart-to-heart, and Jarek even looks over at him, and I think you can see how genuine he is being, and that he realizes that he's not being that guy he knew 10 years ago that was just in it for the money and fame. He's in it a little bit for the money, but not as much.
It kind of matters in this situation.
It does. And so, I mean, Jarek. Yeah. Definitely had the race, like, without a shadow of the doubt.
Oh, he would have absolutely won.
Yeah, he would have definitely won. And last minute, turns his ship and says, you deserve this. Which I thought was really big. Yeah. Really big.
Considering really everything, all the baggage with that, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was very touching, and, I don't know, it just shows you that there's more layers.
Yeah.
To Jarek than we thought.
He's like an onion.
He's compassionate. He's grumpy.
And he can also forgive.
He can. Oh.
But yeah, I love this episode. It was fun. It was exciting. I felt like I was actually sucked into an episode, like, and getting to learn more about Yeagar and his past and his brother and all this other kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, like all of it was just really, really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's coming next.
Yeah, most definitely. I can totally agree with that. I'm looking forward to the next couple episodes. I'm really, really looking forward to how they're gonna wrap this up. And leave us with something to hold on to for season 2, or if they will. Like, I feel like they have to, but I feel like nowadays a lot of shows have to feel like they wrap up the first season just in case they don't come back for a second. You know what I mean? Like, there's still those few ones that still do something crazy, like leave a giant cliffhanger. But for the most part, you know, a lot of seasons get wrapped up, and they're like, okay, season 2, woo! You know?
Right. Which we've heard nothing about a season 2 yet.
We haven't, and I feel like a lot of times too at this point, a lot of times within like the first 3-4 episodes, there's always a season 2's confirmed at this point. You know what I mean? But with the ratings on this one, it's just made me so nervous. And
I want it to succeed. I want a second season. I definitely do. I'm still with you where I don't know where it's going at all. I know that I really enjoyed this episode, and if this is even a inkling of the potential that it can be, I'm excited for it. I think it'd be really cool. I've enjoyed it so far. Yeah. There have been more episodes that I've enjoyed than not, and I'm excited about this. Yeah. But speaking of the last 2 episodes, so did you?
Please tell me.
Yes. So the next 2 episodes, we have the titles released already. Okay. So we don't. I didn't get any descriptions or anything like that because I don't want to spoil anything ahead of time. I like to not know anything really going in. But the next 2 episodes. So episode 9 will be called "Secrets and Holograms." Sounds kind of spy-like to me.
You know, as soon as you said that, you know what it made me think of?
What's that?
It made me think of Rebels, where we have
Fulcrum?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where she's the Fulcrum. We don't know who she is. Or it is, really, because we didn't know it was a man or a female.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so there's that.
That's what it reminds me of, which I'm sure that's not what we're going to see, but
But that's the vibe. Which would be really cool. Secret spy stuff.
Yes.
Yes. And the finale, episode 10, is called... I'm trying to keep you on the hook here.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Station Theta Black. Doesn't that sound awesome?
That sounds really cool. I have no words.
Right?
I have no words. So do we know how long these runtimes are going to be for that season finale? Is it going to be longer?
Don't know. It didn't say anything about runtimes or anything like that. I just saw the titles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't want to dig too far because I knew that I'd find something, and I was like, I want to be as fresh as we have been throughout the entire time. Because we haven't known anything going ahead of anything, really.
Right.
Haven't watched the trailers ahead of time, anything like that. All of this has been in the moment.
Yes.
On Sunday when it airs. So,
Exactly.
yeah. But I'm excited about this. I'm really curious to find out what in the world Station Theta Black is.
Me too.
Could it be a code name for Starkiller? I feel like they know what Starkiller is, though.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will definitely see. So,
we only have technically 2 weeks.
yep.
Next
2
Sunday
weeks.
will be episode...
Then what will we do on Mondays? I got a few ideas.
Maybe we'll come up with something.
Maybe we'll come up with something.
But
yeah, I'm really excited to see how they wrap up the season and what story we get going forward.
Yes.
Are we going to see more of that spy thriller that we're looking for? Is it going to continue being an episode of the week kind of thing, or who knows?
where will we go after this? Very curious as well. Did you have anything else you want to add?
No, other than for probably the 20th time I've said it this episode, I really loved this episode.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it. I hope we see more just like it.
No, I totally agree.
Alright guys, so that wraps up our episode for our Star Wars Resistance review. Thank you everyone for listening or watching another episode of Kessel Run Weekly. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can leave a 5-star review for us, and we will read it on a future episode.
Yes, you can also find us on social media at Kessel Run Weekly on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and on our website, KesselRunWeekly.com. On our website, we also have a comment and show idea box.
Yas.
So we'd love to hear from you guys. So make sure you leave something in that little box, and we will read it.
And so until next time, my name is Danny,
And I'm Kristen.
and may the Force be with you.
Always.